My name is Joe Pahanich. I'm from Quartz Hill, California. I run a program called JPS. I was on my own. I was 26 and was asked to go try out for this team and was excited and just basically dropped everything and created my own training regimen for myself that included meditation, weights, endurance, cardio, playing. And I just kind of created my own thing, and I stayed true to it for 7 months before I left for Spain, and I don't think I've ever been more on top of my game than I was in those moments. So that was a positive for me, is getting that opportunity, to go see a Spanish team firsthand and be a part of that. And then just having to see what I was really made of by myself without a team pushing me, because those are, those external factors can really motivate you, but when you take them away, who are you? So that was a really eye-opening experience for me to see, who I was as a young man. In the end, I'm grateful, man, for where I am and where my life has taken me, and just where the Lord has guided me. But I think, yes, if I made a lot of mistakes when I was a younger player and as a person. I would focus a lot more on who I was as a person and decisions and right and wrong off the field. That was a big piece for me in high school and my teen years. So I would go back and take a look at that and examine that and maybe shift some things. And then as a soccer player, I didn't study. I never was like a studier of the game, really. I watched the game. I enjoyed flavor and flair and things like that. Ronaldinho was so much fun for me to watch as an older player. I think if I was to go back, I would try to learn more about some of the concepts, the universal concepts of soccer. And I think that would have turned me into a more well-rounded player and a smarter player, somebody who saw the game a little deeper and understood where to be, when to be there, why not to be in certain places, when to dribble, when to pass, all the types of things that a young player should get early on. There weren't many coaches back then, youth coaches, that were teaching universal concepts and really instilling them. I think it's more prevalent now, but back then we weren't getting it in coaching. It was more just playing and pickups and being comfortable with the ball. So I would dive more into the intellectual side of the game at a younger age. The first piece of advice I would give to some of these players who want to play at a higher level is to set their goals. Set your goals and try to have an understanding on where you want to be and what you want to do with the game. And then once those goals are set, then you can start to put down stepping stones to get to that goal and to reach that goal. So being able to visually see those goals every day on your mirror or wherever you want to put them, that's an important piece, and it will provide direction for you. And then once you can set those goals and you have a pathway of how you want to get there, then you have to be relentless. You have to be relentless to reach some of those goals. But you can never compromise your values and your morals. So as relentless as we want to be, during that path, you still need to stay true to your morals. And so I think those three things of set your goals, develop your pathway, be relentless to reach those goals, but keep your morals while you're showing that relentless nature. And I think that's something that, again, if you take away some of the players that sometimes help you out and give you that extra push, your captain on your team, your coach of your team, when you don't have those, what type of player are you? Are you self-motivated? Do you have the discipline to keep your schedule the way you need to keep it? What are you doing when you're not playing soccer? With your sleep habits, your eating habits, what you're putting in your brain. I think all those things are very important, and those are things that I keep conscious of when I'm coaching the kids too, is, who are you outside of the game? And that affects who you're going to be inside the game. The first thing I'm looking for is hunger. Obviously, ability is a must if we're talking about high-level players. Ability in terms of agility, coordination, speed, comfort on the ball. Soccer IQ, when we're talking about really young players, can be improved, no doubt, but hunger is something that needs to be there. If you want to be a high-level player and you're not hungry to improve, or you're not hungry to train, and you're not hungry to be the best you can be every time you're coming out, you're going to have a tough time. So I think that's the biggest ingredient is, are you hungry? It's interesting. One of the fads that we're seeing right now is, and I'm guilty of this as well, is training certain actions with the soccer ball and thinking that that's soccer. For me, that's not soccer. It's coordination, it's fun, can help you with some comfortability of the ball, but it's not soccer in general because there's no decision making, there's no opponent, there aren't any moments of attacking, transition, defending. So that's something that we've been talking to our players a lot about, is be careful of how much you do those types of training sessions, because some players are doing that 6 days a week and now they think soccer is just actions with the ball. So when the ball comes to them, they just want to slow behind drag and then under and over and sombrero somebody. It's fun and can be good for certain things in terms of motor skills. But I do talk to the players a lot about, like, just be careful how much you do that. Maybe it's mixed into the regimen, but you need to always understand that soccer is with opponents and there are moments of the game and you need to be playing. So we'll try to design sessions and cycles to where the majority of it for the kids is playing, unopposed by the coach. I use Bruce Lee in a lot of the philosophy that I take with me. I think Bruce was an unbelievable philosopher. And he was a minimalist. Like, he was all about chipping away at some of the inessentials that you don't need to reveal your true self and truth in general. One of the things he said in Enter the Dragon was when Bob Wall came to fight him, and Bob Wall held a board and he punched the board and broke the board in front of Bruce, and Bruce could care less. He looked at him like, nobody cares. And what he told him was, boards don't hit back.
Boards don't hit back.
When you're training isolated in that way as a soccer player, you're training against cones, and cones don't hit back, and cones don't close space, and cones don't scratch and pull and spit and get into your head psychologically. And so I'll always go back to, when you want to compare different types of training regimen, cones don't hit back, and that's not realistic. Now, can it be a good foundation for a young player to get comfortable with the ball, and maybe we use some cones for spatial marking? Yes, that's completely okay. And I'm guilty of it because I train that way sometimes, but again, for fun, coordination, agility, and maybe a little comfort on the ball, but not for soccer intelligence. The ingredient that always needs to be present is an opponent, because that's realistic to the game. Opponents and at times directions, or momentarily directional exercises. So I think those are always advantageous for players to put into their schedule. Games are important. We can kind of seek out trends of the players and habits of the players, and when we look at some of the stats and some of the facts of a certain player, we can start to help that player. So from a coach's standpoint, video can be very beneficial. Man, we're already seeing it, I think, we're already seeing the beginning phases of it, and VBFC comes to my mind when we talk about this, because I think, they started as a pickup game on the beach, but those pickup games were recorded all the time and posted. It was exposing players that didn't even know they were being exposed to coaches. Now coaches are calling some of these guys from VBFC like, who was that guy? So people didn't even know that was going to happen, but there's a good player. A coach wants a good player, and if he sees him, he's going to seek him out and get to know who he is or she is. So I think it's already happening. I think it just gets heavier as time goes by, for sure, but people are already being discovered in social media, Instagram and Facebook and things like that. So
is there anything that you want to say finally, like, you can kind of have a shout out to your program,
your Instagram?
I think, just where to follow me, where to get a hold of me is an important thing. And then it's like, I don't know, these times I want to kind of touch on these times right now, like unity and like love, and that's the message I would like to, if anyone's going to see me, like, that's the message I want them to hear, because it's insane right now. But stay healthy and stay fit psychologically, physically, and just love your neighbors, man. Love your neighbors. Love yourself. I think that's a big piece that we're missing. So